Andy.
Karl, I don't know if your if President Bush 43's administration did this, but for some reason this bothers me. It's that Jen Psaki says she really doesn't know much about anything about this, yet on January 29th, the question was posed to Secretary Kerry about whether or not American funds were being used on the ground in Israel not to impact the election. So she doesn't know today. So what's your thought on this?
Well, this is a troubling chain of events. Department of State, by November of last year, transfers $350,000 to a nonprofit called One Voice Movement, which is designed to encourage a Palestinian state, a two-state solution in Israel. In their 2014 annual report, they announced that they're, quote, embarking on a groundbreaking campaign around the Israeli elections. By January, they've linked up with Victory 2015, known collectively in Israel as V15, which has one goal: the defeat of Netanyahu. They have offices next door to each other in Tel Aviv, and they're cooperating together in a campaign, and they hired Jeremy Bird. And then look, this is in the newspapers in Israel. Jeremy Bird is helping them identify a get-out-the-vote operation involving 1 million phone calls and to identify a certain number of voters everywhere across the country who will come out in a get-out-the-vote effort designed to be ABB, anybody but BiBi. The whole purpose of this is to defeat Netanyahu. That is their express public goal of Victory 15, which hires Jeremy Bird. Now, it just strikes me that this is just too cute by half. They give them money. They announce that the group then announces it's going to embark in a groundbreaking effort around the Israeli elections. Then they partner up with a group that has one goal, which is the defeat of the sitting Prime Minister of Israel. That is stinky. And they hired President Obama's campaign director from 2012 to do it.
You know, I guess, and I sort of look at it as like, you know, what's stinky to me is that, you know, if they have no involvement, why didn't they answer this January 29th letter? It's just not that hard to deny it. We're now on March 16th, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, so we want to know, what happened? Did this happen as people are suspicious or not? If not, tell us. If yes, tell us. Then you've got the problem is that if it did happen, is it illegal or not? Is it just bad policy? And I'd also like to know, have the Israelis ever done it back to us? You know, have they done it to our elections?
Yeah, no, they haven't. But look, there is an impartial group called NGO Monitor, which looks at these kind of expenditures, a nonpartisan group, and they are deeply suspicious about this because money is fungible. $350,000 is a big chunk of the budget for the movement, and they then turn around and announce they're going to undertake this activity in 2014 and then engage in explicitly political activity. We've seen something like this here in the United States. It's called ACORN, which took government money for ostensibly non-political purposes and then turned around and played a role in political campaigns. It shouldn't be done abroad. We stopped it in the United States, but at least briefly. It shouldn't be duplicated abroad.
All right, well, the polls open very shortly, and they may be returning Netanyahu Prime Minister, or it may be a new Prime Minister. But I'm curious that in the event Prime Minister Netanyahu loses, what do you expect that the foreign policy, will it change with a Prime Minister Herzog? Will things change much?
Well, there will be changes, certainly. That's part of the issue here, is that they do have divergent views on international affairs. But that's up to the Israelis to decide. The question is, what role did the United States government play in trying to influence the outcome? The Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations is headed by a very serious Republican, Rob Portman. Claire McCaskill of Missouri vacillates from being a sort of loyal advocate for the Obama administration to occasionally showing a streak of independence. My hope is, in this instance, she'll put the country's best interest ahead and look at, is this appropriate activity for the United States to be funding an organization? And remember, Mark Ginsburg, who was in the Clinton administration, who was the head of this in 2013, mysteriously resigns by December 19th of 2014. He gets the heck out of Dodge and says, I'm no longer in charge. Well, who was in charge? And who made the decision that they were going to link up sometime last year, that they were going to link up with V15, which is an explicitly political organization designed to defeat Benjamin Netanyahu? They publicly declared that was their #1 goal.
Karl, indeed, that the decision whether to re-elect Prime Minister Netanyahu's party or not is Israel's business. But to the extent that we're in these very sensitive negotiations about Iran, who the head of Israel is may have some impact sort of on our thinking, or may have impact certainly on the region.
Huge impact. A huge impact. I mean, this is one of the allies that's got to be comfortable with whatever agreement is arrived at, if an agreement is arrived at.
Karl, thank you.